I don't see it in the chat.
Welcome to Fly Nubian Money, where we help you master your mindset and maximize your money.
Hey, what's up, ladies? What's happening? What's crack-a-lacking?
Good morning.
Y'all good? Y'all good? Good. Welcome to Fly Nubian Money, where we help you to master your mindset and maximize your what? Your money. Listen, today we are talking about something that may sound extreme, but unfortunately, it is real. Y'all, listen close. A man recently admitted that he hates his wife and he stays in his marriage solely for her money. Now, this raises the important question. Is this bitch assness on a tier? I'm just kidding. It raises the question about how we view love, money, and emotional fulfillment in relationships. What happens when financial security becomes more important than emotional well-being? And how can we shift the narrative of staying in unhealthy relationships because of money? We're going to unpack it today. But before we dig in and dive deep, let's talk to the most wonderful, beautiful, amazing queens on the planet. First, we have Miss Noma Langa, who is an advocate of marriage, money, and mindset.
No, girl.
You didn't put it in the thing.
Marriage, motherhood, and money making.
Marriage, motherhood, and Noma
Langa.
You got it.
It's together.
It's been a few weeks since I've been here. What you said, so my apologies. And hey, Dr. Felice, the B.Big Coach. What's up, lady? So we have Miss Therapist. I didn't see you on here earlier. Hey, lady. Hey, girl. Hey, the therapist. We need you because this is some shit we finna get into. So I'm glad that you showed up today because we need you to be a part of the conversation. And then we have the lady who has a master's in public. Y'all, she don't got a AA. She don't got a bachelor's. She got a master's in public policy. So she is going to be bringing some value to the conversation as well. And last but not least, rounding up the rear, certainly not least, all things Miss Black Hollywood. All right, ladies, did y'all see this video? Did anybody see this video? I saw it on social media. It was this guy who was this bitch ass dude who was in the car and he didn't want to go in because bitch ass didn't want to make no more money because he only made $8 an hour and he needed. Let's watch the video. Bitch ass video.
Bro, I've been sitting in this car for about 2 hours now because I refuse to go inside and be with my wife. Like, I hate her that much. The only reason why I'm with her is because I'm broke and I don't have nowhere else to go. Like, I can't afford the rent on my own. And she makes more money than me. So, I mean, if I was to get a good job tomorrow, I'd be gone just like that. With a woman I really want. But I can't afford the woman I want, so I got to settle for her. Literally. If we're being honest, I think I'm doing her a favor. Because she got low self-esteem anyway, and she bad built, so she should be lucky that I'm with her, if that makes sense. So I don't feel guilty about it, but I mean, you know, some gotta give because I can't keep doing this. Like, I can be with somebody I really want, but I refuse to do more, you know? I'm kind of comfortable with being nothing.
Wait, did he say that she was bad built? He said she was bad built? He said, what? She got low self-esteem and she bad built. Is that what this man said?
Yeah, and not
Wow.
uncomfortable with being nothing.
And
Nigga,
she
you
is
look
beating
like
his
you ain't
ass. That's
nothing.
what's going on. She is beating his ass and he's scared to go up in the house. What? All right, I'm gonna leave you for last, Dr. Felice, because this is some shit. I want to ask you, Tiara, what makes of you of this video? Is this a bitch
Yeah.
ass dude or what?
Definitely. It's so interesting. Even if he is just playing, or, I know there was some conversations about him dating. I know that men feel this way. I know that there's real men in the world that hate their wives. And I know it's a quick round robin, but I just know men that hate their wives. And I actually had a family member who was, a victim of somebody that hated my cousin, hated his wife, and he killed her. So I don't
Mm.
take stuff like this lightly, and I believe that. Like, I believe when men say that they don't love their wives or they hate their wives. So I thought it was important that we had the conversation.
Okay. What about you, Noma? What do you think about this video?
So my first reaction was also that I thought he must be trolling, but then when I listened, he was just verbalizing, I think sometimes things that people think but don't actually say out loud. So it's possible that there are people who feel that way. And then what I also thought was really weird was that he kept saying wife. I thought he was talking about a girlfriend. And then I was like, but how can you take marriage so lightly where you're like, oh, I'm just gonna leave her. She's so ugly and she has low self-esteem. As soon as I get something better, I'm just gonna go. That was very puzzling for me. Like, why would you even marry her in the first place if you had all those negative emotions?
Ain't
Why
getting.
would you lock it in? I
Yeah.
can see somebody using a girlfriend and saying she's a placeholder until he finds his wife. Not that that's okay, but that was very puzzling for me. Like you're talking about your wife, a woman that you took vows with and committed to, and maybe even have children with, and you're talking about if you can find something better and a better job, you're just out. I thought that was bizarre.
Well, unfortunately, people don't take marriage as seriously as you do, Noma, and like it's just like nothing. So he probably thought he was gonna get some good benefits. That might be why he married her ass. What about you, Vanessa? That's crazy.
Well, I mean, he ended the video with saying, I'm comfortable with being nothing. So I think that tells you everything that you need to know, right? When you're not okay with yourself, when you just even if you did want something different, he's saying I'm comfortable with being nothing. Like who says that? So I just think that he got some deeper issues with himself even being in this situation. So
Mhm.
he has no value for himself. So let alone speaking up about her, it's like you have no value.
Yeah,
So I mean, I think it's also a testament of like how comfortable, like what's the situation with you and your wife, because this is the internet, so
yeah,
she can pull this up and see this, so you got to think like, well, what type of relationship do y'all have where you just feel comfortable getting on the internet saying I basically hate my wife, she bad built, she this, she that, she just got money. So it's just like, well, what type of self-esteem does his wife have or value does she have? So I just think it's two valueless people together. They both got low self-esteem.
yeah. It sounds like a hodgepodge of misery. That's what it sounds like. That house sounds like real miserable. I would not want to step foot and get that energy in breathe in any of that energy. But what do you think, Dr. Felice?
I think that y'all are all onto something. These are signs of low self esteem. It's a toxic relationship, some learned helplessness where he doesn't feel like he does have the value in which he can be independent and do things on his own. So he has to depend on someone else. But I
Mhm.
also think that I give him props for his transparency and honesty, because I think there's a lot of people in relationships that feel that way and they just believe that they're stuck, that there's no way out. We have a lot of women who feel stuck in relationships with men that they no longer love, but they can't leave because of the financial situation. So his seems more extreme, but I think we have a range of those in relationships with people. I've counseled people where a lot of women who have gotten to a position where their men is the person who takes care of them financially, and they haven't developed a way or a sense of being able to take care of themselves where they can get out, and
Yeah.
so they feel stuck. And so he's just come forward and just said it. Now, he didn't say it in the most tactful way, and it might be to the depth of what it really feels like for him. Like he really expressed what that feeling was like. But it's unfortunate that we have people in those situations.
Yeah. And to your point, Noma, there are a lot of people, because you said you talked about how why would he get married? And there are so many people, and I think a lot of women fall into that trap where they stay in situations because of money or because of security. Why do you think people stay in situations that they hate?
Are you asking me?
Yes, your name is Noma.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that sometimes I'm not sure which of the ladies alluded to it and said he probably hates himself. And you do find that people who hate themselves don't see any good in themselves. They don't see any good in life. So what we look at as a really horrible situation has actually become kind of normal to them. So they stay in a bad situation. Then there is the money thing. Sometimes people feel like worse than staying in that relationship or marriage.
Yeah, we
You know, you know what, Constance? Constance, you know what? When I went down the rabbit hole, I'm gonna just say this. When I went down the rabbit hole for this topic, there was a lot of men on podcasts saying, like, I don't know, somebody posed a question and was like, how many of y'all are in love with your wives? And everybody started laughing and was like, I ain't. Like, literally, like, I came across so many podcasts like that where men were either talking negatively about their wives. It was just so interesting. Black men
It's
talking
disturbing.
negatively.
that's hated
Huh?
by my husband. That's horrible.
That's crazy. I think somebody said it in the comments, but yes, I came across all of that. Like all of that stuff. I was like, this is crazy. This is a thing, y'all. It's a
Somebody
thing.
said if it wasn't for broke men, some black women would never have relationships. And that's a sad thing. But we're gonna talk more about that when we come back from the break.
It's a good show right here. But I'm biased. If you are just tuning in, you are watching Fly Nubian Money, where we help you master your mindset and maximize your money. My name is Tiara Williams. I'm also known as Miss Black Hollywood, and I'm the proud producer of this show because it is lit. If you want to receive notifications for when we go live Monday through Friday, 1 to 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. All you have to do is text the word Queens to 87948. That's Queens to 87948. That's QUEENS to 87948. Also, if you want to grow your money and not blow your money, all you have to do is go to flynubianmoney.com. There's all kinds of resources, there's courses, there's free giveaways. There's just no reason to be broke in 2025. All you have to do is go to flynubianmoney.com. Obviously, you don't want to be entertained here. You want to know enough to grow. Wait, I need to put that on a shirt. You got to know to grow. Got to know to grow. So know and grow with flynubianmoney.com.
So going back to what you just said, Tiara, with men being in situations where they're not in love with their spouses, do you find that true, Felice, where you're seeing people just are in situations that they are not in love, that they don't love? And what is in love? Like, is that necessary for marriage?
So I don't believe in the in love concept, right? Because I don't know how you really keep up that, because the in love feeling is that new thing you get, and that's even science too. Like your brain really throws off these endorphins when you first meet somebody, and that lasts about 6 months to a year, and then the work begins. And I think it's when the work kicks in, right? The rigor of, okay, this is the person that I think I might want to stay with long term. But what does that mean? And I think the love thing kind of kicks in with men is from unmet expectations, either if it's physically, emotionally, or financially. I think that they have these expectations of their wives, also based on cultural things, right? Because they're looking at social media too, and they looking at their wife and like, your body don't look like that, and you got these women on social media that act like they doing this and they doing that and they lying, right? And they like, you're not doing that, and so I think it's these unmet, unrealistic expectations that they have of their mate that causes them to feel like they have fallen out of love for several reasons, and it's not fair, right? And it's not grace. And it's also kind of delusional because the thing that you're not thinking you're getting with your partner, she's not getting it either. Because you're not showing up for her too in response to your unmet
Right.
expectations of that partner. So you're not showing up for her either. But
Right.
she's more likely, I'm not saying, I'm just talking out loud, right? Because it's not, I'm generalizing. She's just probably saying, I made a commitment though. And she finds way to still engage and love you in spite of not getting her expectations met either.
There's a difference between I'm not in love with you and I hate you. You know what I'm saying? That's there's a little bit of a space between the two. Vanessa, do you think, just going back to that, do you think that people could sustain that in love thing that Felice was just talking about?
I 100% agree with that. I actually read a lot of books going through, me and my husband, we went through a lot of different couples therapy. That is a very beginning stage, this idea of love. And I think it's promoted in films, on TV, on social media, like that's supposed to be the extension of the relationship. When, like Dr. Felice was saying, the work really begins, after that honeymoon phase. It's the honeymoon phase, the butterflies, all that is gone. So I think it's best to be in friendship with the person that you're with, because you can rely on that friendship and go back to that friendship as the foundation. And I mean, it's just, think about it, with when you have a good friend, you love that friend through everything. You talk to that person every day. It's not based upon like a butterfly feeling or like, oh, let me see how romantic it is. That just isn't real life. And then also, I've talked about this before culturally. I think Dr. Fleece brought up a good point, is that, culturally, like when my other side of the family, when marriage is looked at, love is probably very low on the totem pole. It's extremely low. We're looking at family. You look at the family first, like, can we cohabitat and exist? Can our families intertwine? Is your family of a certain caliber or mindset? Financials, right? Can I build with you? Do you have the same mindset? Are you on the trajectory to do what I'm doing financially? Because I mean, I think a lot of those things break up relationships, right? Friendship, obviously, and then to me, like, love is like, it's down here, because love is just, I feel like love is the thing that allows you to take care of someone in old age. It allows you to do the things that, the extra mile. But the friendship to me is the most important component.
Yeah. So you, as a married woman, Noma, and being marriage, motherhood, and money, and I got it right. That triple.
You
Uh,
did.
yeah, 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 yeah. So how can one sustain a marriage to go from, to stay in love? I don't know if you subscribe to the idea of being in love, because the other two ladies said they don't really believe it's true. They believe that you could maintain love but not have the initial butterfly feelings. So number one, do you believe in that? Number two, how do you stay not in love but in love with that person? How do you continue the love without going to the hate, as this man has went over all the way on the dark side?
I've often posted on my Facebook, I'll just write, marrying for love is really, really stupid. And yeah, but I mean, I don't mean that you can't love a person and marry a person that you love. I just mean, if that's the only thing, and yeah, like both of the ladies said, sometimes those butterfly feelings, that infatuation is what we're calling love, and it dies down or it dies out, right? But just marrying for love, it really is foolish. You have to look at common values, backgrounds, stability, and I heard it before on here again, friendship. That's really the foundation. I feel like I love my person. I can't wait to tell them a lot of things. I don't even like gossiping and rumors, but that's where I tiptoe on the line. It's like, "Whoo, did you hear this?" Because that's my person, that's my friend. And the same applies to when things are like really bad or I'm having a hard day. Again, that's my person who I can put my head on his chest and just tell him all about it, and he'll sympathize. That's my friend.
I
So
love
the butterflies are great in the beginning or what have you, but that friendship and those common values and just understanding each other, I think, really goes a long way.
Yeah, Yeah, that's interesting. Now that's good stuff. I mean, you have to go beyond the butterflies because the butterflies could actually turn to stress and and high cortisol levels, and then you be walking around stressed the fuck out and passed out because those butterflies change to stress if it's the wrong person. But for you guys and for you guys watching, what do you guys think? Do you think that you can maintain that feeling that you get in the beginning of being in love throughout the entire marriage? Is that even a possible thing? Is it a possible thing? What do you guys think in the chat? But let's go to this next video.
What's up, y'all? It's your realest relationship trauma coach, and I'm gonna tell you the truth, whether you like it or not. A man that constantly asks you for money is using you, and he will kill you. He's not struggling, he has a plan. He's testing you to see how far you will go, how much you would sacrifice. He's trying to see just how loyal you are. He doesn't care if it's killing your peace, your bank account, and even your identity. So when the money runs out, you're going to definitely see the real person. He's going to leave you hanging. He's going to watch you struggle so hard financially, and he's going to sleep good at night. He's going to gaslight you into believing that you guys are helping each other. But he's reaping all the benefits and don't have none of the stress. It was never about love. It was all about the money.
Wow, he'll kill you. Damn, that's deep.
Yeah.
He'll actually kill you.
Maybe mentally.
Stress kills.
Yeah, it does. I was gonna say you can't.
Yeah, what you think?
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I thought that the video was interesting in the sense of, literally, I mean, I told you already about my cousin, but I think that overall, most women, when they're invested, they tend to give and overgive sometimes and wanting to please a man. I mean, a good woman anyway. And so if they're with the wrong man, that man can literally kill them. Like literally, yeah, I do. I think that in relationships, okay, so I've seen women, I see Noma shaking her head, but I'm gonna just say this. I know that I've seen women sacrifice for men. And I've seen literally people that I know and in my family who have given themselves. And I think a bit of them is dead, right? Like because they were disappointed, they were heartbroken, they are bitter, they have not been able to love again. A part of them is dead, right? That person killed a part of them because they overgave and they gave a little bit too much, and he took advantage of her, that particular person. I'm thinking, but I see it all the time with women. So anyway, those are my thoughts.
I definitely see. I see Noma over there shaking her head, so I want to hear your opinion. But I want to hear you after the break.
I know you're busy, you got things to do, and you can't take us on the go with you every single day. Good news for you. We are now on Spotify. So if you can't watch us, now you can listen to us on Spotify. Search Fly Nubian Money and all the episodes shall appear. All you have to do is like, subscribe, leave a 5-star rating, leave some comments, tell people how you love us so that when other people come along and are looking for a great show to watch, they can find Fly Nubian Money too. One last thing, and just in case you've been sitting under a rock, Fly Nubian Money now has an investment club. We are the Fly Nubian Money Club. It's easy. All you have to do is go to flynubianmoneyclub.com, and I am committed to bringing in top experts from all industries to help you level up. They're teaching us the skills that we need to compete in this market. We often say that nobody is coming to save us, not the government, but guess what? We're coming to save us. I'm coming to save you with the Fly Nubian Money Club. So listen, all you have to do again is go to flynubianmoneyclub.com. We have a 30-day free trial set up just for you, just for those people that are struggling. Even if you ain't struggling, you ain't got to struggle. I'm coming. Okay, let me stop playing. I'll see you soon.
So Noma, you was over there. So what? You don't think that somebody using you for money could kill them, or were you disagreeing with what Tiara said?
I'm disagreeing with the idea of a woman overly giving a man money specifically. You can give in terms of service, nurturing, love, everything, but not money. I don't care. You can't convince me that a man who is financially dependent on a woman respects himself and can, on a long-term basis, she can respect him. It just doesn't happen. The love dies, the respect dies. And actually, that's how some of these men end up hating these women. It's because she has emasculated him. He's emasculated himself, and he can't love her, and neither can she love him. It just doesn't work. It's been tried. We try to be progressive, we try to be modern, but men and women are just simply not the same. It happens over and over. People try it, and then they end up in a position like that where she just doesn't respect him, he doesn't respect himself, and it just goes down the drain. And then they don't love, the feelings even go away, where if he was attracted to her, stops being attracted. He's as attracted to her as he would be to his mother. Like, it just goes away. It's been proven over and over. If you do that on a long-term basis, the love will die. And I know there's this trend nowadays where there's these stay-at-home dads, or I don't know, house husband and all that. All those people are losers. Your natural instinct as a man is to protect your family and provide for them. If you don't have that natural instinct, something is very, very wrong. And I don't even see how any woman can be attracted to you, or how you can even respect yourself. No.
I mean, I feel attacked. I feel attacked. If you would have said this 10 years ago, I'd have said you was a goddamn lie. However, as when you talk about long-term and sustain, because honestly, for me, when I was in that situation where I was the breadwinner, I did not have a lack of respect for him. I didn't think less of him, because 15, 16 years old, we came up together. I was the one, yes, out there making the money or whatever, but I felt like we were a team. But I didn't think that he had any resentment towards me until we started going through the divorce process. And then it was like, oh, this is how you really feel. Oh shit, I didn't know. I had no idea. I thought we was all good. I thought everything was great. But then when we start going through the divorce process, it was something totally different. So in my mind, I'm thinking, oh, we good. You know, who better to be with the kids than one of their parents? Because I know I have the capability to make more money. So let me go do what I can do well. And, you know, but even that, the kids tell me now, oh, I had all this trauma growing up when I was a kid. I'm like, trauma? We went on 10 vacations a year. They're like, Mom, you weren't home. You weren't there, so you don't know. And so, yeah, no, I agree with you, Noma, but yeah. I mean, I don't think it is a sustainable thing long term. I don't believe in that anymore, but I did at one time. So, whew, that's deep. But Felice, you were, huh?
I said Constance overgave. She overshared. Now, Constance would probably still be in the situation had not they, you know what I mean? She would have still
Yeah.
stayed in the situation going through it. Right,
Absolutely.
Constance?
Yeah,
You would have
absolutely.
stayed. Right?
Yeah.
Feeling
Yep.
like I'm holding it down. Like, that's the thing, the perception of
Can
I'm
I just
holding it
quickly
down.
ask?
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Can I just quickly ask, if you were the provider, what was his like role?
He took care of the home.
Did he do it well?
No.
No.
But she sacrificed. She believed that was sacrifice. Like, this is what you have to do for a marriage, right, Constance?
Absolutely.
Did you feel like that?
Yeah, it was a team. Like we got kids. I mean, we had a housekeeper. We had
No.
care. It's not like he was home with the kids. Like, you know, he had help with all those things too.
What Norma is saying, though, is that it was out of order. And
Right.
what culture is doing is culture is trying to make us believe that it's a free for all, and it's nothing. There's something about order, and God is a God of order. And so when you're out of order, that man was out of order. It was misaligned, right? So he was not operating in the way and the capacity that he was created to operate. And so what men are different than us. We express our frustrations. Men hold it, and it turns into resentment, and then it turns into bitterness. And so we have to allow men, and that's where the boundary comes in. What's the boundary? You don't give the man no money. That's the boundary. And so what does that mean? That means that you are helping him and enabling him to walk into the way that he was truly created to be, a king. And a king don't take money from a queen. And so one of the reasons why a lot of women give money to men is because they want access. They don't believe that they can get equal access to a man without giving him money. It also provides them leverage and a sense of control. I can control a man if I'm his purse. And so and that's not an equal relationship. And it doesn't work. And that woman cannot truly be happy if he's not operating in the way that he was created to operate. And you're the one that's providing for him. It's not love, it's not like, it's not acceptance, it's called using.
I don't know anything else. What do you think, Vanessa? Because I see you over there nodding your head.
I mean, listen, these are bars. We out here. But I mean, I agree. I think that you have to allow a man to operate and be a man. I don't think that any woman should take care of a man. I just think that it's, it's out of order. And then it does something to a man's self-esteem too. Because I feel like men want to, it's in their nature to provide, to protect, to be a man. Like so it's somebody like chipping away at your self-esteem daily, right? And it maybe it's that person, not saying it's a woman's fault, but it's just it creates a situation that doesn't allow him to be a man. I 100% agree with that. I think that every man should be self-sufficient. Like at least that's the minimum. Like you shouldn't be dependent on a woman to take care of you, to provide, basic things, right? You should be able to take care of yourself. And then once you're able to be self-sufficient, then you can move on to maybe helping taking care of her and being family. And I think that does a lot for a man's self-esteem. Like it hits different.
Yeah, I remember when we had a session with a pastor, and he was saying, as a husband, because I was, taking care of his household and my household. Your wife should not be taking care of two households. Like she shouldn't be taking care of her and the kids, and then you over there. Like that's not okay. And then he said to me, "This is your fault. You did this." And I couldn't do anything but take responsibility because I felt responsible. I felt like I was responsible to make sure that he, even though we weren't together, that he was still taken care of because I had taken care of him. I'd been the provider, I'll say that, for all that time. So, yeah, I mean, I had to take responsibility for my part. What were you going to say, Tiara?
I was just gonna say it's just making me process. I'm just thinking of my cousin, and I can only use. I'm thinking about her today because for me, I did feel like her husband hated her, and the thing was, she was a businesswoman. She was successful. She had a beautiful house on the hill. He was like, I'm not gonna say he was a garbage man, but he was like a dispatcher or something. And she hired him to work for her company, and they started a relationship. And that was like the dynamic of the relationship. She brought him up, and they were together for 16 years by the time he had killed her. Um, but over the years, like she had just bought him a Maybach, maybe like 2 months before, right? Like they had money to get like all of these things. What you're saying, Constance, right? Like I hired, I brought him into the business. She helped him start a business, and then in 2020, the business crumbled because of COVID, and he was like, "Well, I want you to put me on." Put me on as a owner on your business, like the original business that he was hired to work at, right? And she was like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. And so, the frustration of that and the resentment, and I think all of that set in. But before it all happened, she said, I feel like he could hurt me. Like she would wake up at night and he would be standing over her, like looking at her, like, I don't know if she's breathing or whatever. Like there was certain things. So she went and lived in a hotel for 2 months. And then he lured her back to the house one day. And that's when it all happened. But it just makes me think of what you were all saying, really just like really processing that today. So I appreciate that.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
We're going to go to another break, and then I want to come back and watch another video.
Are you a Black business owner looking to expand your reach? Well, has Fly Nubian Money got good news for you? We are building a Black business directory to connect you with customers who need your services. And here is the best part. It is absolutely free. Email us at info@realvirtual.net. Send us your business name. Tell us a little bit about what you do, what services you offer, your website address, and your contact information. That's it. Together, we are going to build and circulate the Black dollar. Get listed today and start connecting with people who are probably already looking for you.
Okay, so look, there's another last video, one more video that I want to look at and have a discussion around.
Say he hate his wife, bro. He said he's just sitting in the car because he don't want to really go inside or whatever. You know what I mean? I'm gonna let him cook for a quick minute, but he said he can't leave because he's in the position to go nowhere. Now I know a lot of guys, ladies and men in that situation. You want to leave this person, but hey, you ain't financially set, you don't have the credit, you don't have whatever it might take. You can't leave, so you stuck. And I think this young brother here, I ain't gonna say young brother, but you know, maybe in his 30s, possibly 40s. He said he can't leave, but let's let him cook.
Bro, I've been sitting in this car for about 2 hours now because I refuse to go inside and be with my wife. Like, I hate her that much. The only reason why I'm with her is because I'm broke and I don't have nowhere else to go. Like, I can't afford to rent on my own, and she makes more money than me. So, I mean, if I was to get a good job tomorrow, I'd be gone just like that. With a woman I really want. But I can't afford the woman I want, so I got to settle for her. Literally.
That's crazy. I'm not sure what value that guy added to the conversation, though. What did he say that was different? Why did you choose that video, Miss Black Hollywood?
No, don't put me on spot.
Hey, what value did
Don't do me that
like
way?
So what value did we already saw the video?
Don't do me that way. Continue the conversation, young man. Don't do that. That was the one we wasn't supposed to incorporate.
So for those of you just tuned in, this is about this man that says he hates his wife and is only with her for the money. That's the reason why we played the video for a second time. For those of you who
it was a replay. Duh.
Exactly. So I think we got another video. I wanted to watch the next video.
Some of these women, when they get in a relationship with dudes that have less than them, they have to cope those men's egos.
That is true.
That's a fact.
That is true. And I will say that. You're right.
They'll get in that relationship, they'll see that
a lot of men are not comfortable.
You know, they're cool, you know, and then all of a sudden, a year, 2 years in, you know, she can go out here and buy this and buy that.
Yeah.
She want to go on this trip, and he's like, oh, shit.
But it's
because he wants to be the man to provide. You know how men are. Men are, they want to provide for it, but she want to do this, and he's like, oh, shit. So now she got to kind of try to coax his ego. Hey, all right, baby. It gets tiring when you got to keep on coaxing this man ego. Like, hey, I love you for who you are.
Yeah.
But now you still mad anyway because you can't make as much as me.
It's just, you know, men, we just want to be the natural providers and all that stuff. So, yeah, in situations like that, we got to let go of our ego. But it's hard to do that. Yeah, it's very hard to do that. But if we supposed to be working together, either way, it shouldn't matter because I got us. That's how it should be from both sides. Whoever's up, I got us, and we going to move forward.
Man, I want to get you. Look at him now with smile. What do you think? Is that true that because you said a whole lot, like shots was freaking fired, but you said, I mean, if he's at home, he's a loser. But on the same token, women having to stroke a man's ego because he's not making as much or anything. I mean, do you feel like that's true that women are having to stroke men's ego because of that?
Yeah, that's her job. And hopefully that downtime would be temporary. And it's a very delicate situation, and you do have to kind of make sure that he feels good. He understands that you have his back, you're encouraging, you're supportive, you're doing everything to make him feel good about himself and help him boost his confidence so that he gets back to where he should be. That's a very different scenario than, you know, a loser sitting on the couch saying, you go to work and I'll sit here. I think that's very different. I wanted to also point out that this video, everything is upside down. They're like, well, she shouldn't be coaxing his ego. Who should, if not her? His wife, his best friend, the person he spends the most time with. She's the one who's supposed to do that. She's the one who's supposed to make him feel good when he's not feeling good and encourage him, be his biggest cheerleader and all of those things. That is actually literally one of her most important jobs. Then they say, well, she goes on these trips. What woman has a gob of money and just goes on a trip? Some of these things, like maybe I'm just not understanding modern marriage. Why would you have all this money on the side and go on a trip and make him feel bad when you guys have to maybe fill me in because it doesn't make any sense to me. First of all, if you're in a marriage and you're in a family, if you're gonna go on a trip, I would imagine it's a trip for both of you, especially if he's having a time when he's down. Or have the sensitivity not to be splurging and spending and doing all kinds of things when he's down. It doesn't make any sense to me. Why would any woman do that? I mean, unless she's just done.
So you said something that was pretty pointed, like, you got to stroke his ego when he's down. You got to love on him when he's down. But I remember one time when you said if he is down and he needs you to put in on it, then what is the options? And I'm talking about financially.
We're talking about feelings, not about me taking money out of my pocket and giving it to him. No.
He said he has many options.
No, baby. No, we're not doing that. No. We have family. He has a dad. Hopefully I have a dad. Mine has passed away, but you get it. Uncles, all of that. Everybody can kind of help and boost him and what have you, but it's not going to be me. It should not be me.
Norma Lanka said, if he's down, I will stroke your ego. If you need money, you have many options, and I am not one of them.
I am not one of them.
I will never forget that. That's a bar.
If we go to dinner and he don't have the money, he better figure it out.
You better figure it out, because I am not one of them. He has many options.
You know what that teaches me though, because Noma, I'll come out my pocket if we're sitting in a restaurant and somebody, and he like, oh, my card won't work. I'm sure I've done that. Been like, okay, it's cool, I got it, no worries. But you saying that's a trap? That's the beginning of the end.
And Felice is agreeing. Okay, what do you agree about that? You ain't paying?
Well, because I think what happens is, and what we don't really, and y'all, I'm old school, right? And my time is valuable. And so when you are wanting to spend time with me, you pay for that value. And so you also are in the beginning stages. If he is a potential, you are training him about how you want and expect to be treated by him. Mm-hmm. So if you start out in the beginning talking about we going 50-50, I always tell people, don't start none, won't be none. So you don't start something that you're not going to be able to keep up until the end, because seriously, when a man gives you something to take, he'll never take it back from you. So you have to start training them in the beginning stages that I expect to be taken care of. Because why? And I'm talking the long term, y'all. I'm talking the long term goal, which is marriage. Because marriage is good for men. Because when the roles kind of reverse, because we really do take care of our men in marriage. In so many other ways. We make sure that joker go to the doctor when he's supposed to. We make sure that he's eating right, possibly exercising. We're making sure that his house is now a home. We're taking care of those babies. We're making sure that everything is good. So I'm talking the long-term game. And so you don't start nothing that you're not going to be able to keep up. And so you actually help your man to be your man. And you don't start out by treating him on dates.
Yeah.
Because then he's going to always want that. He's going to always have something where he's like, I'm a little short. Well, you're going to stay short, or we're going to go to this house and make a meal and cook it. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not the one.
Yeah, that's the expectation. You set boundaries, you set standards, and you set expectations. Vanessa, what do you think? Do you think that that women should be doing you think it's draining, like those men said? Because those men they were saying that, when the man is not making the money that she makes, and she has to overcompensate by, motivating him and doing all these things, and is that a drain on the woman?
No, I also think that we're talking about this in a very broad thing. Like in the beginning, right? There's certain things that don't work out in the beginning that you might curve, right? When you've been together for 10 years or whatever, and it's like, okay, you're going through a hard spot. I know friends that have supported each other through law school. Like I worked, he went through law school. He worked, I finished law school, and now they're both attorneys. I have another friend that did that with med school, and they're super successful, both of them. So I think that it's important to also talk about, in the beginning, for sure, you want to understand where the mindset is of a man. You don't want to be out here paying for meals and things that he should cover. But when you're in a relationship and you're 10 years in, and this man's mindset, you know where he's at, and he's going through a hard time in life. Maybe he lost his job, maybe he lost a big contract. I absolutely think that it is your job as his wife to support him in whatever way that you can, help him get back on his feet. And if that may be financially in the moment, it may be financially in the moment, and then once he gets back on his feet. But the problem is if you don't know a man's mindset, and that ain't never been his mindset to take care of you and be a man and do the things that he needs to, then you're just at that point taking care of him. But there's a difference between supporting and being there for someone when they're down, and then providing everything for them for support. And you just got to know your type of man.
Yeah.
So I think it really depends on the history, the time period, the experiences that you've been with that person.
Yeah, that makes sense. There's a couple of stats. There's a couple of slides that we have that I want to take a look at. So, according to the National Bureau of Economic Research, about 45% of households in the U.S. report one spouse being financially dependent on the other, which can create a power imbalance in relationships. A study by the American Psychological Association found that financial stress is a significant factor in marriage breakdowns, with financial issues often cited as the primary cause of divorce. And the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics report that women still earn approximately 80% of what men earn on average, leading to financial dependency in many heterosexual relationships. Interesting. So, where I'm from, most of the women that I know, most of my friends, they make more than their husbands. Mostly everybody I know, like in California. Here, it's a little bit different. So what do you do? Like, how do you overcome that? Because I heard you, Dr. Felice, saying I'm old school, men should take care of this and that. Saying, men should be the providers, primarily the sole providers. What happens in those situations where the women are the primary breadwinners or the primary earners? Does that somehow diminish the men's authority or their ability to lead? Either one of you guys could take that.
So this is what I think. And I think with those statistics, when I was reading that statistic, I was like, that's great. But I think it's mostly with Caucasian women and possibly other ethnicities that statistic holds true. Because for Black women, I believe that we are the majority of the financial, we make more money. We're more educated. And so, it's just a whole lot of other things. And so for Black women, my thing is we have to be open to dating other ethnicities, right? Because I always tell my girls, you don't marry potential. And the reason I tell them you don't marry potential is because you're not potential. So it's unfair ground, right? I'm not potential. And so that man comes into the relationship possibly on uneven ground because he has no worries. He has no concerns about whether or not I'm going to be able to meet the need or pay the bill, but I do. How's that fair? It's not equal. It's an unequal imbalance. And so we might have to be open to other ethnicities who aren't potential. So y'all give me, I don't know if I need grace for that. That's just my opinion. But how can they make up for certain things, right? So you can be handy around the house. You can make sure that the wood is intact. You can make sure that the floors are done. You can make sure that the car always stays good. There's other ways that you can compensate for the lack of financial equal or equality. So you can come in and do other things that make sure that my life is good. So I don't have to worry about whether or not my car is working. I don't have to worry about whether or not something goes wrong with the house because you got it. You're going to figure out how you can compensate for the lack of financials that you have and make sure that I'm still good as your partner, even though I make more.
What do you think?
See, I see it very differently. I've talked about this, and it's hard to kind of explain it without being too long-winded. But if you look at a lot of African culture, the reason why you take dowry in the first place is to secure the woman's financial future. The other reason why you have a lot of family around you is that so that they stabilize you, especially financially. It is somewhat of an emergency when the woman is the one carrying the bigger weight than the man. Like, that doesn't feel normal to anybody. So they have to make, whatever it is, supporting him to build a business or whatever it is, Because the truth is, even if you as the woman are the one making the more money, we're the ones who get pregnant for 9 months. We're the ones who ideally will be breastfeeding for a year or two. We're the ones who get periods every month. We're the ones who are more emotional. It's just not a good idea for the woman to be the one who's bearing the weight. It's just not a good idea. And that's why you end up with women not respecting the man, or starting to feel resentful, or he feels everybody knows that that's not ideal. Now, to be honest, I don't believe it's fair to always say, well, I make more money, he makes less, so I can't consider him. That could be how it is in the beginning. The other thing is, we have lost the skill and the ministry of marriage and wifehood, where you literally build that man up enough where you can step back a little more and he can step up. One of the ways that men are emasculated and the ability to step up is taken away from them is by women providing for them. He doesn't realize it, she doesn't realize it, but she's literally taking away his incentive to be better, because she's better, because we measure by who's more financially stable or who makes more money. But the truth is, if he has the right support, the right environment, the right family, the right everything, he is going to rise, and she will be able to fall back a bit, because guess what? Her responsibilities are much more broader than his in the home than him, you see? So she has to naturally kind of keep stepping back, because that's required of her. Her children require that. The home requires that. The extended family requires that. That's just a fact. There's no way that you can tell me that things are equal, in the sense that the expectations that are placed on a woman and the expectations that are placed on a man, that's why women are having all these diseases and things, because they're literally trying to do two full-time jobs, and there's no way. You're going to break down. Your body physically breaks down. You have women who have so many diseases because they're trying to do everything, and then you have a man who gets to just sometimes go to work and come back and do nothing. That doesn't even make any sense. And then she gets to take care of everything else and then go to work, come back and take care of all this other stuff. It's just not that's the most unfair thing that I've ever seen, and I will never support it.
Can I interject real quick too? Because I believe, and I agree totally with Dr. Noma, is that originally the reason why the man was supposed to be the main provider was because we were considered the weaker vessel, because we give birth and come closest to death. We're giving birth and building family. So if you're totally dependent upon my 50% in a relationship and something happens to me, our family caves in. And so it was meant for the man to be the main provider, so that if anything was to go wrong with the weaker vessel, the family would still be intact and be able to survive. And so it's not necessarily just about, being unfair and the man, but we were considered a weaker vessel because we give birth and we can die while giving birth. And so it was for some of those reasons too.
Yeah. So to your point, Vanessa, do you think that love can survive when people are so dependent on a financial motivation?
No, I mean, I think for sure what I loved, the point that Dr. Noma made is that
You a doctor
oh yeah,
Thank you for
I'm
giving
sorry.
me that title.
Listen. Well,
today.
she's preaching like a doctor. My bad. But the point I'm saying is that building your man up, right? So there's this idea of and falling back, so that we get into things sometimes, and that's why I think it's so important to know the type of person that you're getting into it with, right? Because the mindset is everything. Mindset is, to me, it's more valuable than meeting someone with everything together, right? If you have the right mindset and the right intention, and you're the right person, then you're able to build together and you're able to fall back as a relationship goes. So I think that's an important thing. But if everything is just based on pure money, to answer your question, Constance, I don't think I don't think that's a healthy, functioning, and long term relationship. I think that's a disastrous relationship. I think that you need a foundation, like I said, of friendship. But I also think that the appreciation needs to be recognized on both sides, because we're talking about 50-50. And so when people say this 50-50 thing, they're automatically thinking about just financially. But what happens is people don't think about the things that the woman does, the extra things that the woman does, where even if I am bringing 50% of it, that means that I'm bringing 90. because I'm also cleaning, cooking, washing clothes, making sure that the household stays intact, doing all the stuff, the things that a woman does just naturally, but does not get the credit for. So it's really, when a woman is given 50-50, it's really 90-10. So you have to consider those things. So it's really like, okay, well, I'm 20-30% maybe financially, and then that's 50-50 because I make up the other 20 or 30% in the rest of the things that I'm doing. So I think it's very important for us to think about percentages in that sense as opposed to just financially.
Yeah, that makes sense. So we're gonna wrap it up with our final thoughts, and I'm gonna start with you, Miss Black Hollywood.
Overall, I just think that women, I love what we said here today about just being mindful of the men that you date, and men being mindful of the women you date, like not getting into situations just for money. Women not getting into situations because you're desperate, because you get to a certain age and feel like I need a husband, and you gravitate towards someone that hates you. I would really hate that for you, you know. So I think we should be a little bit more mindful of the relationships that we're getting into. I love this. The queens have preached today. I mean, I'm leaving with an entire, you know, something to process, like what you all have said, and kind of the way me myself have been moving, thinking like it's not that big of a deal, you know, here or there, or just doing certain things, and maybe I need to tighten up. So I love that. I love that. My name is Sierra Williams. I'm also known as Miss Black Hollywood, and if you are interested in working with me, I am at missblackhollywood.net. Also, this Saturday, we have a Fly Nubian Money Club training. Lala Key is going to teach us the art of live streaming. So if you are interested in learning how to go live and build confidence on camera, this training is for you. So to go to flynubianmoneyclub.com, sign up for our free 30-day trial. And if you are already a member, we cannot wait to see you in class. Okay.
All right, all right, all right. Thank you, darling. What about you, Vanessa? What are your final thoughts?
Great, man. Great thought today. Great insight. I love that we are all providing some very valuable lessons to what it means to be a woman or a man, because I do believe that no matter what this world is doing, there still is a definite role of a man and a woman. So I mean, my I run a company called Winter Remodeling, and it's a general contracting company. If you're in the Los Angeles area, hit me up at Vigo Paul. All my information is on there. I also travel, that's my love. So if you're interested in looking at new places, going anywhere, Africa, Europe, wherever you want to go, hit me up. All my information can be there. But great conversation today. I loved everything the Queens had to say as well. Come on, y'all.
Awesome. All right, Miss Nomalanga, what are your final thoughts?
Yeah, I definitely agree. It was a great conversation. I don't have much more to add. I think we've said it. I do think it's interesting, though, that I'm always bringing up, African ways. And I think that's what's funny is that when I was growing up, I rejected a lot of the traditional things because I felt they were old-fashioned, or they were, not progressive enough, not liberal enough. But the interesting thing is, as you go through life, you'll find that some of the things that we have in our cultures and traditions and families are there for a reason. So embrace the lessons from your aunties, from your grannies, and your older sisters. It can save you a lot of trouble and a lot of heartache. I am on Facebook, so you can reach out to me on Facebook. I'm there as Nomalangam Saudi Moses. I'm generally very responsive. You can also find me on Instagram as Noma Moses, and I also have my YouTube channel under the same name. And I also would like to say that we have a charity here in Botswana called padsforourgirls.com, where we take care of period poverty so that young girls who are not able to go to school because they cannot afford sanitary pads, they are provided for. If you feel compelled to help us, you can donate at padsforourgirls.com.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you, Noma. And finally, we're going to wrap it up with Dr. Felice.
So I'm just gonna ditto all of y'all. Like y'all all brought it today. I think I might have gotten a little triggered by some of the conversation, only because I think hate is such a deep triggering word. And the fact that it could lead to someone's death when they're trying to give to someone and make sure that someone's okay. So I think that was triggering. But overall, I think the conversation was very needed and necessary. And I'm all for good conversation. So thank you. I really loved it and everybody's input. I'm Felice Hightower Britt, the Be Big Coach. I also have my own therapy practice, Resiliency Therapeutic Services. And I can be found on Instagram and Facebook under Be Big Coach.
All right. All right. Listen, we appreciate you and thank you for joining us today as we explore the complex dynamics of financial dependence in relationships. It's a real thing, y'all, because money is powerful and it's a powerful factor in how we approach love. But it's important to remember that emotional fulfillment and respect should be at the heart and the forefront of every relationship. So let's continue to empower ourselves to make healthier choices in our partnerships and the one that values both financial security and your emotional well-being. Until next time, stay Black, stay proud, stay strong, stay empowered, and remember, your worth is not defined by anybody else but you. We will see you tomorrow.